But tonight, thanks for coming. We're talking about Cloud Library. It is our newest ebook platform here at the Keller Library. We're excited about it because it will give you access to a lot more content than we've been able to offer up until this point. So it's pretty cool. Go to the next slide. Just a note about me, my name is Anne Flanoy. I am the Adult Services Librarian here at the Keller Library. But we're here to talk about Cloud Library. So what is Cloud Library? It is an ebook and e-audiobook platform that the Keller Library uses to provide users with free access to ebooks and audiobooks. That's all it has on this platform. And it offers instant checkouts, totally free to anyone who holds a Keller Library card. Like I said, anyone who has a Keller Library card has immediate access to Cloud Library content. There's no need to create an account like we do with Hoopla. Your library card number just gets you instant access. What can you do with Cloud Library? You are able to check out up to 3 items at a time. You can place up to 3 holds at a time. You can keep your loans for up to 14 days. And all of your loans will automatically return on the due date. Or you can return them earlier if you need more space to check out more books. You also have the ability to add an unlimited number of titles to a books of interest list to help you keep track of things that you want to read in the future. So how do you access Cloud Library? There's a couple ways. The first way I'm going to talk about here is to get there from the library website. So what you see, the first tile there is just the Keller Library's homepage, cityofkeller.com/library. And there's a tile on there that says digital resources. And then the second picture here on the page, you'll see the button for Cloud Library. And then it takes you to the page. The last picture is actually from the Cloud Library page where you would log in. If that's too complicated for you, you can also just Google the words Cloud Library, or you can type in the website www.yourcloudlibrary.com. And you'll have to follow a few extra steps if you go through it this way. You'll have to follow these prompts to find the library. Whereas if you went from the Keller Library website, it would do this part for you. But you'll have to go through here and pick your country and your state and your library. And you would have to do this every time, even if you were still logged in. But that's getting there from like Google or whatever. Cloud Library is also available as a mobile app, which is how I suspect most of you would use Cloud Library. It's available for phones, tablets, iPads, Kindle Fires, pretty much any device that can download apps. Just a quick note about Kindle Fire tablets. It does get a little complicated because Cloud Library is not a quote trusted Amazon app. That doesn't really mean it's dangerous. It just means you have to take a couple extra steps. And you can find them, they're spelled out for you on the Cloud Library website. Basically, it involves allowing the installation of applications from unknown sources. And then you have to remember that because it's not an Amazon app, it will not update automatically. So you may need to periodically uninstall and reinstall it to get the latest version. But it sounds complicated, but it's not that complicated. Once you do it once, you should be able to do it easily. And just know that Cloud Library content cannot be accessed from a non-Fire Kindle tablet. So if you have like a Paperwhite or something like that, you won't be able to use Cloud Library. If you're a Paperwhite user, I recommend using Libby or Overdrive. You can get Overdrive books to your Kindle device from that app. We are a part of something called the Texas Cloud Link group. This is one of the biggest selling points for us for getting Cloud Library. All of these libraries here listed on the screen are members of the group. Basically, all of these libraries are sharing content with each other. So if the Denton Library has a title checked in that you want, you're able to check it out. You're not able to place holds on other libraries' items. it gets kind of complicated like that. But just know that if something's checked in at another library and you want it, you have access to it. Anything that you can see in the cloud library, you can check out. So let's try it out. So for most of the presentation today, I'm going to be looking at Cloud Library on a web interface. And then at the end of the class, I'm going to look at it on a mobile device if the sharing works out. But it should work out okay. So this is what it looks like if you access it from your web browser. So just some basic page navigation. You can see there's a menu over here. There's a login button. If you click on the library logo or the library name here, this is going to take you to the Keller Library website. You can also change the language that we're browsing in here. If English is not, your first language, you can switch it here. There's also a button here to download the app. So if you access this from your tablet, you can download the app here. You'll notice that this is, if you're a user of Hoopla or Libby or Overdrive, the interface for Cloud Library is a lot simpler. It's a lot harder to get lost in Cloud Library. There's just fewer options of things to do. Something I just noticed just now is that this actually looks different for me than it did when I'm browsing at my desk. So your header might look a little bit differently. For instance, for me, all of this option is displayed in the header of my page. And I didn't have to hit that hamburger menu to pull it up. The first thing we're going to do today, though, is we're going to log in. And I do recommend you always log in before you start browsing, because it will show you all the content that you have access to. Whereas if you're not logged in, you're not going to be able to tell what you have access to. You're only going to see featured content. So when you're logging in, just remember your library card number is the whole number on the back of your card with no spaces. This is just like if you were logging into our catalog. And your password is going to be the last 4 digits of your phone number, unless you have customized it, which I do recommend you do. But if you haven't done that yet, try the last 4 digits of your phone number. You do always have to accept the terms of use before to let you log in. So make sure you click on that. And sometimes it can be a little slow to load when you first log in, so just be patient with it. But as you can see, this homepage hasn't changed much because the homepage is featuring only content that we here at the Keller Library own. So everything on this page you'll always have access to. You can check it out, you can put a hold on it. We'll look at some content later that is from other libraries that you can check out, but you can't place a hold on it. But you would only be able to see it if it was able to check out anyway. Okay. Something I just wanted to show you, something that does change is your login button changes to a log out button. And you can see if you hover over it, it will show you your library card number. So that's kind of handy if you share your device with somebody else, or if you have multiple library cards. I know we see that a lot here where the boundaries between cities are so close together. Okay, so let's look at some of these options here in the tabs, in the menu. Featured here is the home page. That's what we pulled up first. This is going to feature, like I said, only content that the Keller Library has purchased, and these lists are curated by KPL staff, namely me. So these can be lists that are handpicked, like our book club picks, or they can be like automated lists, like recently added books. You can scroll through it like I'm doing here and just pick things. You can also change the way each one of these lists is sorted. So like if you're looking at this book club list and you can tell it's sorted one way, you can change how it's sorted here, like by author, publishing date, recent editions, and it just shuffles that list to your preferred order. You can shuffle through the list using these arrows that go to either side. You can switch this up and view it as a list if you don't like this kind of carousel view. I like this list view because it shows you here right away what things are available versus what things are checked out, and you'll need to place a hold on that. Whereas back on the featured page, you didn't see that as much. If you do want to go back to the featured page, you can just click here on this all featured button, and it should go right back. You'll notice here a lot of these titles have little headphones icon on it. That means it's a audiobook. And then if it has no icon on it, that means it's an ebook. And like I mentioned earlier, Cloud Library only carries those two formats. There's no TV shows, no music, nothing like that. It's just focusing on ebooks and audiobooks. If we click on a title, we'll pull up a little more information about it. This is called the book details. You can see we've got title, author, publisher, publication date, description, which you may need to expand to read the whole description. And then it'll give you this fun list of other things by that author. We can also borrow this item here if we wanted to check it out. If we wanted to look at something, let's see if there's something a little more likely to be checked out. I think it's featuring. These are all available. I was looking for one that has that place a hold button. There we go, place a hold. So you can see this has got, it's checked out right now, but it's going to be available in 5 days. That means whoever has it right now, it's due in 5 days. And so that's going to be the worst case scenario. So let's say the person that's got this checked out right now decides to return it early. It might be available before then. And if that happens and you have a hold on it, then your hold would be filled a little sooner. So just keep in mind, this is going to be the longest time you have to wait for it. That's the good thing about ebooks is if the person before reading it before you is slow, they can't keep it late and keep you waiting. You can also flag this item if you're not ready to place a hold on it or borrow it. You can see this, and it's a little hard to see, a little flag icon here. It says flag or unflag as a book of interest. And if we click on it, it just turns solid. And so now this book is going to be on our books of interest list. Let's go back to our menu and look at the next tab, which is going to be Browse. So this is where we're going to start to see more content. We're going to see content that's available from other libraries as well as content that the Keller Library owns. So from here, we can browse specific categories and subcategories. You can see these fiction, nonfiction, teens fiction, teens nonfiction. These are the categories. And then below you have the subcategories. So right now it is displaying here fantasy, historical, literary. That's because I've selected them here. See how they're blue? If I don't want to view fantasy, I can unclick that off. It's going to take it off there. But let's say I do want to view horror. I can add that one down there. So it's only going to display the things that you have clicked here. If you don't want to view the subcategories, you can hide that banner here and just make your page a little neater. But let's say you always want to browse mystery and detective and literary for sure. If we click on this little star, that's going to add it to our favorites, which is this star category here. And if we click on that, and now it's just going to show you the categories that I've clicked the star on. So if I change my mind and I don't want to look at literary anymore, I can remove it from my favorites by unclicking the star, and then that takes it off there too. You browse through this just like you did from the features page. You can scroll through the list. You can switch to list view. What am I missing? We did the favorites. You'll see when you're in your starred category, you don't have those subcategories because you picked them. But if you switch back to one of the main categories, they'll come back. You can click on them to view them like that. And there's lots of them. And make sure you can scroll through here in the top two to view them all. Let's see, so that's browsing. It's pretty self-explanatory. The next tab is My Books. And you have a few tabs within this menu. We've got reading, which is things that you have currently checked out. So from here, we can read this book, we can return it, we can see when it's due. We can also download it for offline reading. Now, I do only recommend that you do that if you're using a mobile device. If you try and download it onto your computer through your web browser like this, it's going to download a file, but it's not likely that you'll have an application on your computer that can read it. So that's not going to be really helpful unless you're on your mobile device. And the next tab is holds. These are things that you've requested. So from here, you can see when it's going to be available. And again, this is a worst case scenario. You can also cancel your hold by clicking on remove hold. You can click on these items and get more information. It just takes you again to that book details page. History is going to be things that you have checked out and already returned. Things are automatically added to your history if you check them out, and then they go on the list when you've returned it. You can see from here, you can borrow it. You would also be able to see here if you had added things. No, I'm sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. You can borrow things from here. You can see the date that it was returned. You can use this delete history button. That's going to wipe out your entire history. If you just want to delete one title at a time, just click on the title and bring up that book details page, and then you're just going to use the button. Where did it go? Okay, I'll have to come back to that because that's not what I thought it looked like. Okay, but let's look at the books of interest. From here, we can do all of the same things we could do from the other lists. We can borrow. You can see I have this one on hold, so I can cancel my hold from this list. I can place a hold on items that are checked out. And again, it shows you when it's due and things like that. And again, here we have this clear books of interest option. This is going to clear your entire list. Okay, but this should work where if you click on it and pull up the book details, you can unflag it here. Yes. And that would remove it from your flags. Ta-da. Okay, that one worked out. All right, the next tab in our menu is messages. You're not going to use this very often. This would just be a message from the library, like maybe your card's about to expire, something like that. We also have a few of these settings tabs, I guess you would say. Filters is pretty handy if you are like a specific audiobook user and you never want to view ebooks. You can filter those out. Same thing down here. You can view only available titles if you never want to place holds on items. Just be leery of these. These are permanent filters. I mean, you can come back and turn them back off, but they will stay for your next session again. It will also be applied site-wide. So let me show you. If I take off, let's say I only want to view audiobooks ever. I'm going to go back to the featured page, and you're going to see it's going to load really slow, but now it's only showing me audiobooks. And then if I go in and I go to browse, it's going to be the same thing. It's only showing me audiobooks. So if you ever changed your mind, you might get frustrated because you couldn't find any ebooks. But the problem is you have that filter turned on. And so just be aware if you're using those, it might be limiting what you're viewing. Let's go back. We have settings options here. There's not a lot to this. It really just gives you some identification information on your library, and then it offers you the option to notify you when your holds come in or don't notify you when your holds come in. And it does default to don't notify you. So if you need a notification that your hold is ready to check out, make sure you change this to yes, notify me, and then it's going to prompt you for your email address here. We go back here again, the last option is about. Just a couple of helpful links here. We have online help, a link to the library's full catalog, which does include Cloud Library content. And then also a link here that will open an email to the library if you want to contact us for the question, and then a couple other things that you will probably never need here. All right. I do want to show you what a search looks like. So you see the little search bar here in the corner. If you're looking for something specific, you can type it in. This is just a keyword search bar. So like if we type in John Grisham, I can't type and talk at the same time. Wow. And you can see all of the John Grisham books, and you can borrow them from here. You can type in a title. I don't know why the search bar is so small. Again, on my computer at my desk, it wasn't this small. So you can see everything with the title, A Christmas Carol. You can also do a subject. So let's say we wanted to do US history. And I'll pull up all the books on that subject. So that's pretty straightforward. But let's go back. I want to show you what it looks like when you read a book. So let's read, let's look at this one first. I'm just going to click on read. And it should open us up to the front cover. You can use the left and right arrows of your keyboard to change the page. The cover, for some reason, always, they blow it up really big like this. So it can take up multiple pages, but usually it doesn't do that for other pages. You can click on the edge of your page too to go to the next page. Especially if you're using your phone or a tablet, tapping on the side. Let's see. When you'll saw when I clicked in the center of the page, it pulls up some of the information. You can see there's a progress bar down here. You can scroll through the book that way. I want to go back though and look at the other book. This is one that I purposefully read into the middle of the book. So you can see when I open this one, I've already been reading it. It's going to open it up where I left off. So I didn't put a bookmark on this page or anything. It just remembers that I closed it on this page. Again, I clicked in the center to pull up that more information. You can see the title of the book is displaying here at the top. I had a patron the other day who that was really important to them, is that they be able to see the title. I guess they forgot often which book they were reading, but the title will show up there. If you need more information, there's also this little tiny eye with a circle around it. Will take you and it shows you the book details page. So this is just the same page as if you were browsing in Cloud Library. So that's there. This AA, this is going to be your appearance settings. You can change the text size. You can change the color theme, columns. You can choose a different font. Sometimes people are really picky about that. There is a really handy Open Dyslexic font. If you have trouble reading regular fonts, that's pretty good. Go back to the default. This kind of menu looking thing is called the go-to section. In the contents, this is just a clickable table of contents. So you can click on a chapter that you want to go to. Bookmarks are here. You can, let me show you how to put on a bookmark. So when you're in the page and you're reading, you can click on this little tiny bookmark guy to put on the bookmark, right? And so then you can view all those bookmarks here. You can delete them if you put it on there by accident. You can also turn it off by just clicking again on it and it turns it back off. But something that's kind of cool is you can add new notes. So if you click on this pencil, you can type in on here and just add whatever you want, and then it saves it on there. Kind of like writing in the margin. The go-to section just allows you to type in a specific page number and go directly to that page number. So if we want 175, we'll go to page 175. So that's pretty much what you can do in the web version of it. So I'm going to switch now to the app and show you what the app looks like. Bear with me, it's going to take me a second to switch it over. All right, it's working. Okay, so I'm using today a Kindle Fire. So things will look differently based on which device you're using, obviously, but for the most part, it looks the same. So this is the home screen. I'm already logged in, so this is a logged in look of the home screen. And it opens on this home page with library messages, which, like I said, that would be messages from the library, but you can also click on it and view our Twitter feed, if that's of interest to you. The My Books tab, oh, something I should mention is that the app does use slightly different language than the web version does. So just keep that in mind as we're going. I'll try and point it out where it's different. In the My Books area here, we'll see this is where most of that language change is happening. So current is what we looked at on the website was called reading. These are things that are checked out to you. So on this account, I'm logged in here. This is my personal account. I don't have anything checked out, but they would display here and it would look just like the reading page on the website. History, again, is just like things you've already checked out and returned. Holds are things that you have requested. And then saved, this is another language change. The website used that little flags and called it books of interest, but here in the app, we're calling it saved. I don't know, I know it's hard for y'all to see because you can't see my finger moving on the app, but down at the bottom bar across the bottom is the main navigation. So I'm switching now to the search. And so this is another language change. Search in the app contains everything from the featured page and from the browse page that you saw on the website. So this first page it's going to pull up was the featured things. So these are the library curated lists. So you'll recognize those. And then if you want to use the browse to view other things, you'll need to go to all. And then again, it has the stars where you can star them, remove from favorites, and then you can view your favorites here and edit those as well. There is a search bar at the top. It's a lot more prominent here in the app than we saw on the website. So you can use it just like you did on the website. It's just a keyword search. I want to go back. The last tab down here in the main navigation bar is account. So there's a few settings I want to talk about here. I'm not going to go through this in depth, but something I just want to point out to you is this notifications option here. You do in a lot of the mobile apps have the option to get push notifications. So without it having to go to an email, you know, it would show up in your notifications on your device. This is a bad example because on Kindle Fire, it's not an option. You can't get push notifications on the Kindle Fire, so it's telling me it's not available. But on your phone or your tablet, you might have the option to turn those on. And then you have the option to turn on the email notifications here. I also want to point out the option to monitor your cellular data usage. If you have limited data on your phone, you might want to control when your cloud library is downloading things and when it's not. So just pay attention to that if that applies to you. Under reader ebook settings, there's some handy stuff here. Like you could tell it to automatically open borrowed books. This is something I recommend to people who aren't really tech savvy. If they want to borrow a book, they just want it to open and start reading it instead of having to go into their account and find the book and open it. It just makes things a little, it takes a few steps out. So there's also some fun stuff you can do, like you can customize your account here with this pencil. So we can pick a nickname, an avatar. We can change the color of our app just to customize it and change things up a little bit. That's pretty much it for the app. There's not a whole lot more to it. All right, so I've shown you pretty much the basics of it, but like I said, Cloud Library is not that complicated compared to some of our other platforms. So we really covered a lot tonight, but if you still have questions, you can always email library@cityofkeller.com. or call 817-743-4840, and one of our librarians will be glad to help you navigate your way through Cloud Library or any of our online platforms. But thank you for attending tonight.